Hey guys, this is Rosa Kelly. So today I'm here to give you a walkthrough of my complete reading journal. So let's take a look. So hi guys, so welcome back to my channel. So today I'm gonna be sharing my personal reading journal. So every year I like to create a reading journal where I write all the books that I'm reading and also set myself some challenges, create a list of books that I want to read and so on. So for my journal, I am using a notebook therapy journal and I just love it. I love the color. I love this little kitty here on the top, and this is my first time using the notebook therapy, and I actually like how how it looks. I like how it feels, and it's holding on pretty well. I actually wash the cover because it got a little bit dirty, and yeah, still looks pretty good. So let's go ahead and take a look inside. I just put the name here and reading journal 2023. So this is the 2023 reading journal, and I know we are on the middle of 2024, but I am yet to set up my 2024 journal. So let me know if you guys want to see a video with me kind of setting it up together with you. And I love to add different quotes. So over here it says books are a uniquely portable magic, and this is a quote by Stephen King, and I love that. And on the first page here I just put a little bit of like an intention on what reading means to me. To read is to find an endless sea of doors in which each takes you to a different world. Some books might bring you comfort, put you in a happy mood, feeling adventurous and creative. Some might make you think deep in the mystery of life and understand yourself better. Some might just keep you up at night, binging on or scared. Reading a book is like living multiple lives, connecting with new friends, characters, traveling to new places in the world or to a new fantasy world. I love reading for the peace, the calmness, the exploration, and the satisfaction of flipping the pages, seeing them move, all to the left side. I don't know if you guys feel like that, but I just get so much satisfaction when you start finishing the book and you see that most of the pages are now like on this side and you're so close to the end. I love seeing that, and that's why I love reading physical books. And then over here I said, this year I hope to continue my passion for reading, to explore new genres, to learn about new things, to find beautiful places to read either outside or inside. And then I put a quote by Annie Dillard that says she read books as one would breathe air, to fill up and live. And just cute little sticker of a cat. On this next page here, I did a little sketch. This was inspired by Pinterest board, and I actually did something very similar last year, which was a big bookcase. But on this one, I added this window, which I really like. And I try to write down all the books that I read. There were some empty ones, but I just went ahead and colored them anyway to keep it consistent and make it look pretty. And then the colors here, this is semi-color coded. I didn't go into a lot of detail, but for example, all of the blue ones are fiction books. The red ones are romance books. And the like greenish kind of like a blue-green, it's fantasy books, and then the light green are kind of memoirs or nonfiction, and then all the rest, which is the most of my reading, is thrillers and horrors, because I love reading thriller books and mystery books. So that is like an overview, and all of these I hand sketched, so it was actually really relaxing. Then I always like to create a TBR page, so I usually do like, I did 20 books for 2020, 21 books for 2021. So this time I did 23 books for 2023. And usually I base this list on all the books that I want to read, or people who I follow have like good reviews, or some of these are their favorite books of the year. So I decide that I want to read those this year. And then I go ahead and print out the little pictures. So I create a Word document where I just reduce the size of the books that I want to read. And then on the bottom, I do a little square. And then as I read the book, I fill up the square here. So you can see that I did not complete reading the books that I wanted to read, but that is okay. And so that is my TBR page. Then over here, I have my seasonal TBR. So I used to create a TBR for every month, but now I do it per season. So I went ahead and create one for spring, one for summer, one for books that I want to read in the fall, and then the winter books. And for the most part, I think I read all of the books that I wanted, except for a couple. So yeah, so I think it's really fun to create a list, so that way when I finish a book, I just go to my list and select the next one that I want to read instead of wondering what to read next. Sometimes it happens, and sometimes I don't even go by the list. I just read whatever, you know, it's okay. And then I start the monthly section. So I like to sketch a little kind of like a cover page for each one of the months. And I like to do very simple decorations. So I usually use like scrap pieces of paper that I have left over from different projects. And I always like to print my book covers. So I do this maybe once a month, sometimes maybe every 2 months. I go ahead and put all the book covers on a Word document, and then I print the entire sheet on a sticker paper sheet, and then I just go ahead and cut them, and it's very easy to have because then you just peel off the sticker. And so sometimes I print a bunch ahead and I just put them on this back pocket here, and when I have time, I just go ahead and start adding the review and the pages. And what I do ahead of time is add these papers here. So for example, I'm starting a new month, I go ahead and just cut a bunch of these papers, and they're just like hand cut. I like that rough edge look, and I just do a few pages, and I like to allow myself 3 full pages, and then I see if I need to add more depending how many books I read. I like to do 1 book per page, even if I do a small review. I just like keeping them separate like that. And you will see at the beginning of the month I have the star rating, but then I stopped doing that because I need to get me like a little star stamp because it just takes too long drawing the star and like filling it in. I just get too tired doing that. So you will see towards the end I don't even add the stars anymore, but they are on my Goodreads, so it's not like I need to keep double track of that. But anyway, so I also like to write in here the title, the author, and the genre that I'm reading, and so I do that for all of the books. So again, it's really fun to decorate, super minimal decoration. So these are 5 stars here, and I just like to add some flowers or butterflies for color, but I also don't like taking a lot of time on that. And then here's the next cover for February. So I do love hand sketching these flowers, and I did the same for my previous one, and I just wanted to be consistent. I don't know if I'll do it for the next journal. We'll see how I feel about it. Then I also like including these half pages here. I thought it was kind of fun to change it up. So this whole section is like romance books, and I think it's kind of fun to have this half page. So all I did here is cut the page, or actually I think I folded the page in half and glue it together, and then I just rounded the corners here. And yeah, so a lot of little kitties on my pages, and beautiful books I've read. I mean, this is one of my favorite books of the year. You will see that later on. And so same thing for March, just like really super simple, minimal decorating. And then again, the books that I read, the rating. This was like a horror fantasy. Sometimes I'm very specific, like I don't just say horror but horror fantasy, but I have to come up with a more consistent convention, because at the end of the year, when I was counting how many of each genre, I had like way too many different sections. But anyway, so over here we have historical fiction. Highly recommend these two books. Take My Hand by Dolan Perkins. Beautiful book, made me cry. And then Christine Hanna, The Nightingale. All Christine Hanna's books I absolutely love and adore. I think they're just fantastic. Over here, again, a few more books that I like. Oh, and sometimes I try to decorate, like, for example, this one here is a book about, like, it's a thriller, but it's like vacation. You go into an island. So if I find stickers that are with the theme, sometimes I take the time to do that, but for the most part, not so much. But yeah, it's fun when you try to coordinate with the theme of the book. So over here we have a section that I did all dark academia. So I like to do, like, for a week I'm reading dark academia, or for a week I'm reading romance. I think it's fun to plan your reading week like that. So over here, again, try to decorate it with some books and some candles and these, like, lady stickers. I don't know if they're related to the book, but it was just fun to add some different stickers. And so then we get to April. So I was trying to do something a little bit different. It just depends on the mood. And as you can see, it's definitely not perfect because I really don't know how to sketch much, but it is relaxing. So it doesn't have to be perfect. It can just, the goal is to relax and enjoy the process. Over here, some thrillers. Again, so just using scrap pieces of, and you will notice that sometimes I do them on the bottom, sometimes I do them on the top, sometimes on the side, because I'm trying to balance the bulk of the book. And so that, and on some of these books I write a lot because I have a lot to remember, a lot to comment. This was a fantastic book, Solito by Javier Zamora, which is about this child. He was, I think, 10 or 12 when he was sent to cross the border with, the coyotes. And you kind of see both sides, like, yes, trying to, have a better life for your children, but at the same time, like, the risk. And for the most part, the kids don't really have a lot to say. So it was a really, really interesting book, a lot of different points of view. And so I was trying to capture all of that. This is another one that was really interesting, The Glass Castle. And then back to my thrillers or horror, which is like my comfort read. And it's not super, like, scary horror. It's just called horror. But I haven't found many books that actually scare me. And I'm still looking for those. So here is the month of May. Then we did a little bit of romance reading. Love this book, one of my favorites for the year. Anything by Abby Jimenez I will read from now on and forever, because I love reading romance books, but for the most part I think they're a little bit cringy. I don't connect 100%. They're just a light read, but with her books I totally fall in love with the book, with the characters, and fall in love with love again. She just has that magic, and I love her books. More thrillers, and even more horror. And then over here we get to the month of June. And so again, I did a week of romance reading, and I just love the romance. They're always so colorful. So Emily Henry, another one of my favorites. Here's The Four Winds, a very popular book. I had mixed feelings about it. And then another Abby Jimenez that I love. And then we go back into my thrillers, like The Housemaid. Highly recommend. Love this book. The Writing Retreat. Love that book. And then here we have The Soulmate, which is talking about this, like, wedding couple, or I guess I should say marriage couple, and like the secrets that they're keeping. But anyway, so I had a a sticker of wedding a bride, I guess, and I just put it there because it kind of fed with that. And then over here, not so perfect strangers. It's kind of like strangers on a train, and so there's these two ladies that kind of connect, and then they decide to kind of take revenge for each other. But anyway, so I had the stickers of the two ladies, and I decided to just put them there. Really, really good book. I really enjoyed that. We have the a lot of finding yourself and kind of breaking that chain of like domestic abuse, and so it had a lot of difficult topics while still being a thriller. So some thrillers still do have a lot of those topics that you get to see different points of view. So not because they're thrillers they're always just like a fun ride. Some of them touch very sensitive subjects too, so it's always good to look at the like the trigger warnings on a book. And so yeah, so that's just my little advice. And then more thrillers, and then of course Michelle Obama. I just absolutely love her, and I have to read her books again. All her books, I love them. And then we have July. And in July, there's always a readathon called Summer Wing that I love to follow. So for a week, you read it's kind of like a summer camp, like a Halloween summer camp, and you just read thrillers or horror, and there's like prompts. So I just love to follow that week. And so these are the books that I read. As you can see here, I didn't add the stars because it just takes too long. But I love decorating the pages, and some of the stickers that I added here. I actually bought the stickers for the summer win. It's a YouTube channel that I follow. It's called Gabby Reads. So she hosts this readathon every year. So sometimes she comes out with merch, stickers, shirts, book covers. I mean, I get it all. I love it. And so more of that. So I read a lot of books. I always get super motivated that week to read a lot of thrillers. Then we get to the month of August, and again over here I just started reading a little bit more fantasy, and always reading thrillers. And yeah, some historical fiction and some memoirs. So then we get to September and more fantasy. I finally started reading some classics. I realized it is September and I haven't read any classics yet, but yeah, something that this year I definitely need to improve. And then I was reading more historical fiction or literary fiction. And so yeah, so then we get to October and reading like romantic books that are more on the kind of what do you call it, like supernatural, something like that. More horror books, of course, because it is October. And yeah, witchy books, more memoirs. Then we get to November. In November I try to read more fiction books, historical fiction, fantasy, and of course thrillers, of course. And then we get to December, and in December I only read 4 books. It's always a busy month, but yeah, so those are all the books that I read. And then at the end I like doing my yearly stats, and basically I just put my favorite books. So I like to do favorite books for each month, and sometimes it's hard because some months you read 2 favorite books, and some months you read a book that, yes, it was good, but not as good as the 2 favorite ones that you read the month before, if you know what I mean. So it's kind of hard. Sometimes it might not be super fair, but yeah, so this is one book that I like, my favorite book of each month. And then I did like a section of my favorite horror for the whole year that I read, my favorite literary fiction, my favorite historical fiction, and then my favorite book of the year, which was Lonely Castle in the Mirror by Mitsuki Sugimura. absolutely recommend this book. It was beautiful. The story was amazing. It is magical realism. It has a portal of, this girl who has a lot of anxiety going back to school, and then she finds a portal on her mirror, and when she goes on the mirror, she connects with other kids that have the same type of like anxiety or problem. So each one has like a different let's say mental health issue or depression or anxiety or things like that. And so I really like how the book points all of these out, especially on like school age children, teenagers, and then how everything got solved. It was like a solving a puzzle. Oh my goodness, I definitely want to read the book again because it was incredible. And again, the beautiful message of the book, highly recommend. And that is the end of my journal. And so I love it. I love looking back at the pages. Sometimes I might not even read all of the descriptions that I put on each book, but it's fun to look back. And sometimes I even forget that I read, for example, oh, I forgot I read this book, right? I don't know why. You will forget, but sometimes you do forget, and then you go back and we're like, oh, I read it and I loved it. And this is something funny, even though these notes are only for me, I still don't like to spoil anything on the book on my notes. I just put something like, I like these and I like that, and I would definitely read it again. So I like to give myself the mystery of if I ever read it again in 10 years, I'm not spoiling, what the book is about. I just know that I really enjoyed it. And for the most part, I remember a lot of the books, but some books are a little bit forgettable. And so I also put that. I said, okay, maybe this book was a little bit in a slow pace, maybe a little bit boring, so probably wouldn't go back to that. And if I really like the book, definitely I mark have to read again at some point. So anyway, that is the walkthrough of my reading journal. I hope this was fun to watch and it was, maybe inspirational in a bit, for you to start your reading journal. And I do have to say, you don't have to read a lot of books to create a reading journal. The first journal that I created, I think I was reading 2 books per month or 1 book per month, and you don't even have to separate your books per month. I did this because at the beginning I was kind of keeping count of how many books I read, because on my other channel I like to do a review at the end of the year, at the end of the month, of all the books that I read. And so that's why I always kept it, by months. But it honestly doesn't matter. You can read 1 book in 3 months. You can have 1 journal for multiple years. It's just so fun to keep, and I love it, and I love looking back at it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and I want to thank you for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.